All right, a few days ago, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, asked a big question on Fox News.
What would Los Angeles look like without illegal aliens? Here's what it would look like. You would be able to see a doctor in the emergency room right away, no wait time, no problem. Your kids would go to a public school that had more money than they know what to do with. Classrooms would be half the size. Students who had special needs would get all the attention that they needed. There would be no violent transnational gangs. You would be living in a city that would be safe, that would be clean. There would be no fentanyl. There would be no drug dens.
We have two words for that in where I come from in Canada. The first word starts with a B. The second word starts with an S. Okay, for one, studies suggest emergency room wait times, while they are lengthy across the country, are not necessarily inflated by undocumented migrants. Many of them actually, sadly, avoid seeking care in the first place because they fear being asked for documentation. Pretty sneaky, however, to blame a health care crisis on undocumented people in the very same month that Republicans voted to cut Medicaid funding for millions of Americans who actually need it. Another blind spot in Stephen Miller's argument, the workers. 42% of L.A. County's health care workers are foreign-born, and some of them are even undocumented. That's according to data compiled by the Center for Migration Studies. But if you think they're taking American jobs, think again. L.A. County launched an initiative earlier this year to increase the number of nurses in the area. It projected nearly 6,500 registered nurse job openings each year over the next decade. Miller's point on education would also get an F. United Teachers Los Angeles and L.A. Teachers Union estimates that among the 30,000 immigrant students in L.A. Unified School District, the biggest in the country, of the immigrants, 1 in 4 are undocumented. That's 0.01% of all the students in the Los Angeles Unified School District, not 50%, as Stephen Miller says. Public school funding is often boosted by student attendance, by the way, so taking children out of classrooms might actually reduce the amount of funding that schools currently receive. Okay, let's talk about crime. A vast majority of migrants being arrested in Los Angeles right now, in this current thing that we've been watching for several weeks, have no criminal convictions whatsoever. In the month of June, 68% of the people detained by immigration and customs enforcement agents sweeping the L.A. area neighborhoods had no criminal convictions whatsoever. 57% have never been charged with a crime. And fentanyl trafficking, which this administration has used to justify everything from ICE raids to tariffs on Canada, well, fentanyl's a problem, and it's dangerous. It's a very big problem, mostly being sold and spread by Americans. According to the United States Sentencing Commission, 86.4% of people sentenced for fentanyl trafficking nationwide were U.S. citizens, not undocumented immigrants. Stephen Miller's math doesn't add up, but the data and the facts aren't really what matter here. Miller is, in a way, speaking from the heart when he speaks about Los Angeles. Miller's from the beach city of Santa Monica in L.A. County. Beautiful place. Also struggles with affordability and homelessness. Perhaps he surmised that undocumented immigrants are to blame, but there are millions of Angelenos, including immigrants, children of immigrants, and friends of immigrants, whose lives are colored and perspectives are widened by the patchwork of cultural communities that now call that region their home. To them, a Los Angeles without immigrants is hardly a Los Angeles at all. For more on this, I'm joined by Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Caitlin Dickerson. She's a staff writer for The Atlantic. Also, Ray Suarez is the host of the podcast Going for Broke. He's the author of several books about immigration and the Latino community, including his latest, We Are Home, Becoming American in the 21st Century and Oral History. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being with us. Caitlin, you've reported on this for a long time. Stephen Miller has an unusual relationship to the facts when it comes to studies and statistics about immigration. This goes back many years. He cited statistics that talk about immigration lowering wages. They're almost always wrong. But this seems to be a sort of a best of hits of Stephen Miller on immigration.
You're right, Ali. He really hit kind of every category of concern that he has about immigrants. But as you just did a really good job of describing, the numbers really don't add up. I mean, I think there are kind of two main issues with the vision of Los Angeles that Miller put forward here. One is that you would be very hard pressed to find an economist or an expert on the criminal justice system who would agree that any of those theories that he posited are true, would be true if undocumented immigrants were somehow all magically taken out of Los Angeles. But the other issue is that he's really talking about people as numbers. And I see this all the time in my reporting when you're in DHS headquarters in Washington. It's all about data. How many people have crossed the border this week? How many people have we deported? Really reducing people down to a single statistic. What this administration is struggling with now, though, is that's obviously not the case. So you're seeing these viral stories of beloved, restaurant workers, star students, parents of U.S. Marines, U.S. veterans being picked up by ICE, and the ripple effects that those arrests are having in their communities. So it's not only do the numbers that Stephen Miller put forward not make sense at all in a city that's got, by the way, a massive economy, a $1.3 trillion GDP with 950 or so thousand undocumented immigrants, to lose all of those workers. Again, it just doesn't make sense that the economy would continue to function in a healthy way. But you're also talking about people who are deeply woven into the fabric of Los Angeles. And this isn't a city that isn't aware of that, right? Which makes Miller's points make even less sense. So it just across the board, hard to justify or understand.
So, Ray, I think there are some Americans who probably voted on the basis of the fact that there are murderous, terrible criminal immigrant elements who come across who should be jailed and deported. But Stephen Miller has never just been about that. He's actually been about immigration in general. He generally doesn't like it. He has some specific exceptions that he makes, I think, for like the Norwegians who Donald Trump wanted to bring in, or the Afrikaners who he says are subject to, Donald Trump says are subject to genocide. We are a nation in which we have fewer children and we have a negative replacement rate. From an economic perspective, America is fortunate to be the #1 destination for immigrants in the world. But it's starting to lose that charm, right? Australia and Canada are becoming more attractive, even though they're hard to get into. America needs these immigrants. We just don't have enough children. As much as J.D. Vance would like everybody to have more children in America, it's not true. It doesn't happen.
We're pushing down the supply curve on both ends of the continuum, discouraging the most talented, most educated, most cutting-edge research academicians from coming here, making it hard, making it perhaps even threatening, if you look at the case of Rumeysa Ozturk and others. So they're looking to Canada, looking to Australia, looking to the European Union. Then at the other end of the education and skill set scale, we are emptying that flow as well. So the demand that exists and is persistent. The United States has a 10-story high blinking neon help wanted sign, which just makes this whole exercise kind of disingenuous. We always want people. We're always hungry for hardworking, hustling people, and just make it really hard for them to live at the same time. So we're doing this really weird thing in economic terms. Yes. But also, Stephen Miller's also about the social terms of all of this as well, and we can talk about that.
Let's hold on that, because I do want to discuss that. Let's take a quick break. Caitlin and Ray, stay with me. We'll continue the conversation about why this conversation is happening the way it is in America. You're watching Velshi. Stay where you are.